Hey folks, this is Price is Wrong with Battle Vortex, and this is the Battle Pirates BB Roundtable. I haven't got a clue what we're talking about today. I actually came on here. I've got no plans whatsoever. Well, so I was kind of talking to a couple of the guys before the show started to figure out what we might be talking about. So we may end up covering the FAT, Forsaken Arena Tournament. Who don't know what FAT means? That's FAT's Forsaken Arena Tournament. And we may also discuss. Oh, there I go. I'm being a noob. All right, I just muted my YouTube. Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll probably also talk about the new 75 dredges, and I guess what were we just talking about? I know we were talking about Horatio's Crusader fleet, but weren't we just talking about 75 dredges too?
Yeah.
Has anybody on the panel tried those?
Yep. I have.
What'd you think?
It's tough for the points you get. I'm going to be sticking to the 60s. You get more points for doing them than a 75, the damage ratio. But having heard what you did, I might give that a go, Jeff, though.
Prepping out the boats with subs? Yeah, the Assault Torp Bs can outrange the thermal on all of the boats in there, but golly, there's a lot of freaking boats in there.
Yeah, there is.
And no Hellstars. No Hellstars. I think they're all Hulks, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think just the angles.
But there are drones.
Yeah, and they've got the little drones. Yeah.
Yeah, little drones on
there. So I guess you try to go in there and knock the whole thing out. I know I did it like with 3.5 hours worth of damage, but I basically just, like I said, subbed out all the boats, and then I went in with 2 Hell Strikes with a nuke cruiser flagship to help with the radioactive damage, and then I just kind of split the island. But the turrets are incredibly tough this time. They're have a lot in common with those 90s, the 90 Reaver assault platforms, the level 90s from the event, because just the turrets are that tough. And the 85s, the Hellstar Nexus, you know how tough those things are.
Yeah.
So I suspect that they're probably designed for Arbalists. So if you had Arbalists, it'd probably be a lot better than my Hell Strikes. But my Crusaders aren't quite ready yet. They're still getting armor.
My Crusader fleet that I can use to do like 6 or 7 level 60 dredges, I got the same amount of damage doing 175 that is going into doing it, not no sub reps or nothing. So to me, it's still more worth it to do multiple 60s than it is to do a 75.
Yep, I quite agree with her.
Now, Vlad, you said you did one too, right?
Yeah, I did one, and well, let's just say that I didn't have anywhere near the luck that the rest of you did. I took a lot more than 3 or 4 hours damage, and I'll just stick with the 60s. The time it takes, any amount of damage and hands out, the 75 just isn't worth it.
You know, I think we said the same thing, didn't we, about the 60s, the new ones when they first came out? You think we'll ever? Maybe what makes me wonder if eventually we'll come around to the 75s.
I'm sure as we get fleets built to deal with the specific threats in the 75, that the speed will go up and the damage will go down, but I still don't see that. I don't see being able to do 2 of them in the time it takes to use an irradiated cutthroat, and I regularly get 4 regular dredges done with an IC. Sometimes 5 if I'm close enough to the tower. So that's another thing to look at, the amount of time you're going to get on your irradiated cutthroats.
That's true.
Yeah. Toxic, you were getting ready to add something. What did you have to add?
I was just gonna ask if the payout is the same as the 60s, where if you use 10 minutes or 8 minutes, you still get the full payout, or is it only what the time says at the time?
It seems to me, quite honest, I mean, it's like 19,000, right? Or ish, 19,000 ish uranium for the 75s, and
it's in between 15,000 and like 20,000, depending on the 75.
I gotcha. So yeah, I wasn't quite sure the scope of the whole range there for the 75s, but I don't know. It seems to me whenever I go in, I always get whatever the max value was. I know it decreases, but I hate to say anything because I don't want Kickside to fix it.
Yeah. A glitch in our favor.
Yeah. So I'm really kind of not really. I'm not comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. You just have done.
Yeah. So did that answer your question, Toxic?
Sure did.
All right. Who else? Anybody else on here do some 75s?
I did
No?
not.
So I guess in everybody who has, you kind of feel like the 65s are kind of the way to go, huh? Still.
And the other thing I noticed doing it was in the raid when you had the shrouded turrets that you could splash those out, and it didn't seem like I was getting any splash damage at all on the shrouded turrets. And I went in with my Hell Strikes with Dragons and HES3, so there was a lot of splash there to give.
I don't know what happened during your raid, but for the past few raids I've had that had Shroud on the targets, they wouldn't take any splash damage. The Shroud just completely negated any damage that the targets that it was surrounding would have been affected by. Like, I had Inferno Rockets on my Hell Strikes, and there was the one Hulk with the Shroud in the Elite that was patrolling around. And I was in the process of killing a Napalm and a Javelin in the Elite, and I could target the Javelin, but because the Napalm was affected by Shroud, none of the splash was hitting the Napalm.
I hadn't had that. It'd been a while since I'd run into the splash. The last two raids I did nothing but elites, and I have the way I do it. They don't get shrouded. I'm able to get to turrets before the shroud comes around on the Hulk. So they may have changed that some time ago, and I just didn't notice.
Yeah, me personally, I mean, I didn't. I mean, in my experience, I know when like when we did the 85s, the Hellstar Nexus, and I would have my Hornets out there flying around. My Hornets, as soon as the Shroud went up, they wouldn't even finish their cycle. They would just immediately return as soon as the Shroud went up on those targets. So, I mean, it just seems like when they're protected by the Shroud, they're protected from everything, and that goes from retargeting and just nothing. They're protected from everything. But I do know, I guess the one building that will kill the Shroud. The Shroud is like on the southern rightmost section of the land platform, and the building that induces that Shroud is on the top left. And I know you have to kill that to get rid of the other Shroud, but there's pyroclastic turrets in there. There's that new Reaver Howitzer. And then the Reaver Javelins are pretty much all the turrets. I didn't see any rockets in there, which kind of, made me happy. I didn't see any of the Serbs in there, the Reaver Serbs, but it just seemed like I had to stick around a long time, man, for a lot of those turrets to get them all killed. And they got like enough little other buildings in there that if you're not actually using the shift-click method to select the turrets, that your boats will start shooting at buildings instead. And you definitely want to make sure you get the turrets out of there before the buildings, if you can't knock them out real fast. But
yeah, I've seen a guy do a 75 yesterday, and he almost ruined his whole fleet of Crusaders in it. He just went in there with Crusaders, he did everything with Crusaders, and he left with one boat.
Wow.
And what got him in the end was the little UAVs, those Scarab, not Scarab.
The Locust ones, right?
Oh,
the Locust, yeah. And they just hung around his boat, and it just popped him in the end.
Yeah. If you don't have countermeasures on the Locusts are more. Well, shouldn't say they're too susceptible to countermeasures, but them Locusts, they kind of suck. I definitely recommend prepping out with subs if you can, but I know there's a lot of the big guys. They like to be able to one-hit their targets, so I don't know if it's worth a whole fleet though to do it.
It's not. No.
The bad thing you have to worry with sub-prepping these, though, is then that makes them, like, easy targets for other people to snipe from you. That's the big concern I have with sub-prepping.
Oh, D-Man,
You know,
you said the howitzers have more damage than the Serbs and longer range?
Yep. At least that's what I got from the raid, the last raid.
Maybe it's
They,
just the damage type versus armor, you know what I mean? Because I think my fleets are generally built so they're like MC3 alloy, so yeah, I usually have more ballistic defense than explosive defense, so maybe that's the difference.
I have more ballistic defense on my fleets too than explosive defense, and I still take more damage from the howitzers than I do from the Serbs.
Mm.
You can also, if you have enough speed, you can also somewhat outrun the missiles, but you can't really outrun the howitzers because they're direct fire.
Okay.
The most successful fleet I've seen take on the 75s, though, is I think it was 2 Crusaders with Arbalists, an Aegis, and a Frostburn Interceptor. And they got maybe 30% damage on the fleet,
That's not bad.
and that's the least amount of damage that I've seen a fleet take from the 75s.
Yeah, I thought I'd be smart and go in there with Reapers, but my Reapers are only R7, so yeah, I took a bit of damage on them too, so I couldn't get away quick enough.
You know, Hiram used to be a regular on here, but he was on my Twitch stream earlier, and he told me he used Reapers, and he was able to do the 75s with no damage using Reapers.
Wow.
Yeah, no ECM either. Yeah, it was just, but they were, you know, retrofitted. So, yeah, or retros. Yeah.
R10.
I think he said I believe they were R10, but he didn't use an ECM, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't have one or what, but he did the 75 dredges with no damage at all using Reapers.
Yeah.
That must have took him some time, though.
Yeah, he said he timed out the first time and had to go in a second on each
Wow.
one, so it took him 2 trips in.
Yeah, I've got 7 deluge missiles on each of the Reapers. Sorry, 6.
You
And
only,
yeah, it took quite a bit.
you only want 5 toxics because you start losing your cloak when you put more than 5 on.
But even in the non-player areas, like the dredges and stuff like that, I thought it'd still be the same.
Yeah, well,
No.
each missile you put on there, when it fires, it basically reduces your cloak efficiency by 4.
Yep.
So if you have 7, 7 times 4 is 28. So what if you had 99% cloak efficient, you reduce that by 28, then that's what 71 or something like that. Cloak efficiency, which is probably still not bad, to be honest with you. And I believe Hiram said he had 7 deluge missiles per Reaper.
Mm.
So he was loaded.
Yeah, so I never thought it mattered in a non-player based battle. I thought it was only
does.
bases
Yeah.
that.
It goes.
Oh,
No, what happened? The deluge and the downpour missiles reduce stealth, but they implemented a cap in player bases, so you can't have more than 70% cloak efficiency inside a player base.
75, right? Minute
Yeah,
75?
75.
It's 75, and 75 is where you start. When your missiles fire, you go down from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Attacking a base.
So fewer missiles in a base, but every other target you can as long as you have enough retrofitted tech, you can get away with having 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Now Joel puts out in the Hangout chat here that the ECM does help in bases, and that should, I don't have the practical experience to back it up, but theoretically that is true because the ECM is anti-sonar. It's not cloak efficiency. That it doesn't enhance cloak efficiency. It debuffs enemy sonar. That's what it does. But it's weird because it's a friendly field, so you wouldn't think that, you know what I mean? Because it can be used to activate ECMs and all that stuff. I mean, the resonance battery, but it's a friendly field, but yet it doesn't do anything to friendly boats.
No.
So it's one of those things where I don't know. I think sometimes the people at Kickside don't know really what the heck they're doing, and I say that just I don't mean that in a hostile way. I don't mean to put them down or anything like that. But some of the things that are screwed up with the game, like cloak efficiency for one, they screwed that up and they never fixed it. They didn't fix it right. They fixed it with the 75% base cap. Is what they ended up, because originally the original way they were going to fix it was the correct way. But another thing that's broken the game is the refire, or I'm sorry, the fire rate, the reload buff that you get from ranking. Now, 75% reload actually gives you 400% or 400% fire rate buff, and I mean that's because they didn't implement it right. But right now the game is designed around it, so there's no fixing it. It's just something I think players, for the most part, because it's in our favor, right, we're happy about it, but I don't know. Kickside, the way they fix things sometimes, just not impressed, I'll just say that.
No.
But, and did anybody else have anything they wanted to say about dredges? No?
I reckon it'll just be like every other implementation they do. It's going to be hard at first. People are going to cry and whine about it, and in the end, someone will find a way, and it'll all be good until Kix comes up with another one.
I quite agree with you, Toxic. The next couple of raids, a couple of months, you're going to get fleets that are just going to walk through them.
Yeah. Me personally, I didn't think the 75, the new one, I think the defense platforms are ridiculous, how strong they are, because they take so long to kill. But aside from that, well, I guess there's a crap ton of boats in there too, but with strategy and a smart player can deal with most of that, the extra boats and stuff, but in a fairly cost-effective manner. But I think I don't think it was too bad. They definitely could have got a lot more ridiculous if they wanted to. But anyway, I guess who's got something they want to say about Forsaken Arena Tournament? I know there was a Damnation. Isn't this your half of the show?
I want to know who's riding in the little red wagon that they're pulling around in that fucking development team that decided it would be a good idea to get rid of uranium insurance. And then on top of that, try to charge me coins to repair fleets that I don't even fucking own.
Yeah.
Quite agree with you.
Yeah.
It's all stupid.
And this is by far the stupidest thing I have ever seen them do. To take one aspect of the game that people are actually enjoying because they can play more than 5 minutes competitively without having to coin repairs, and to just totally ruin it. They're fucking retarded for doing this.
I don't know.
Don't sugarcoat it. Tell us how you really feel.
Every Bitcoiner that I know, that I talk to, is upset about how much, Kixeye expects them to pay to play this game. They're all upset, but they keep paying it. You know what I mean? As long as they keep testing the limit, and you keep saying, okay, well, the line's not here anymore, it's back here. I'll keep giving it to you. I mean, things aren't going to get better. They're not going to change. I mean, they're trying to, as a company and any business, is trying to find out what the fair market value is for their product, right?
Yep.
And if you're saying that it's okay for you to go out and have to spend $5 to $10 on a fleet repair so you can go out and hit a base, if you think if you do that, I mean, you're pretty much saying it's fair, and you're giving it to them, okay? I mean, it's not helping the community whatsoever. And all you're doing is getting yourself upset, and I think it's silly, that people keep forking the money over like that. And it's $300, $400, $500 on a fleet, $900. I've even heard of it over $1,000 on one fleet, buying rank and all that stuff. And I just don't. I mentally I cannot relate to you guys. I can't understand what it is in your head that says that's okay, and that the pixels on in this game are worth it. I just don't get it. But so I can't relate to you. I wish I could defend you, but quite honestly, I just don't understand you.
So what you're saying then is you're more than happy to spend these coins to fix fleets that you don't own?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that at all. Nope. You won't see me participating. I might do the
Oh,
free
it's
one
time, yeah.
just to get in there to see what it's look like. That way I don't look like a complete blooming idiot when we talk about it on the show. But,
Yeah.
so I might do like the bare minimum. You know what I mean? I'm not going to spend anything on it, but I just, I'd like to be somewhat educated when I go to talk about it or make a comment. But aside from that, I don't plan on doing anything else.
I agree with you 100% price.
But that's my 2 cents. It's not the Bible or anything, but
It's looking like now we're getting 2 raids every month. No matter how much we're complaining now, it just seems to have a negative effect.
well, the halftime repair. I wonder if that's. I'm assuming that's going to be limited to your Forsaken Arena tournament ships, right? And you probably won't be able to use that like doing campaigns or anything else. Because if you can get halftime repair for everything, then obviously it's not really a horrible thing.
Can you really see that happening?
Well, it'd be good for the community, so probably not. But
Well, what'll happen is they're going to intend to implement halftime repairs just for the FAT, and they'll screw it up, and we'll all get it until they fix it
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
that's right. That's how it's going to work.
Yes. They won't have tested it, so they'll let us test it first, then fix it.
And then we'll get a non-Battle Pirate community manager will make a post on the forums about, well, it was unintended, and they talk about exploits and people being banned, but it was our fault, so there's not going to be any bans for this. Yeah. I'm being facetious. I probably should stop.
I think you were talking about last week's campaign there, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably stop.
Yeah.
Did everybody get their Going Rogue campaign done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't even started it yet.
No?
Yeah, I got mine done. I got it. It took me a little bit of time, but I got mine done. Last one I missed out on because they said it was going to be a week, but it only was out just the weekend, so I never did it. I just didn't. Yeah, I figured I had time to do it, so I didn't do it, and then it was gone.
That's another thing to me. When they say stuff like that, it's going to be out a week, and it's not, then they should compensate the people that have not done it.
Yeah. Well, Kixeye and doing the right thing, I don't know. That's a rarity. It does happen. It just doesn't happen very often.
Well, it did happen to me.
I just wish that the crews given in the Going Rogue campaign were more worth it. The only crew that's worth getting is the Grease Monkeys at the 4th level. The other 3 are just garbage.
Yeah, the cutthroats are alright.
You get the an irradiated cutthroats for free when you do the Let It Burn campaign. So,
well, if you've got a lot of irradiated cutthroats now, you can do your uranium storage a big favor. By using them and filling up and getting all the costly retrofits out of the way.
Exactly. Like your
all of
R10s
them?
up to R15s, which cost about 50k uranium a time to do. You might as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why I like this idea of when the dredgers come out on Friday and they last all the weekend, I'm thinking, nice.
All right. Well, I guess Forsaken Arena. Anything else? I mean, did anybody else bring any topics with them onto the show today?
well, when Doom Rooster first introduced the idea for this FAT, it sounded really interesting, and I was actually kind of looking forward to it. And then I read posts on what they decided to change and whatnot, and then it just doesn't look as good as I originally thought it was going to be.
Well, the
Yeah,
original
most definitely.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Toxic, go ahead.
No, I was just let the others talk first. I'll go last. So
It's like, wasn't the whole original concept around the reworking of the FAT to make it fair and balanced for everybody, and they just turned it into now if you have more money, you win.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They
they kind
think
of undermined their own effort, didn't they?
every time that they come out with an idea, it just feels like there's somebody in the background with a knife getting ready to slice open the goose that laid the golden egg. Originally, the toy box idea had potential, but getting rid of the uranium repairs or the uranium insurance and making us coin repairs on fleets we don't own, just and you're guaranteeing you have to coin because you can't even use all of your fleets. You have one free fleet, and then if you either have to wait for it to repair at half time, or you have to coin it, or you have to coin a second fleet.
Mm.
There's no way to get around coining.
I've read
Really?
cash.
Don't do it.
Well, yeah, I won't be participating. I'll go in there and I'll do my one free one to see what it's like, and that'll be it.
I wouldn't mind coining repairs a few times if I got to keep the fleet.
You won't keep the fleet.
I know. But wish.
It'd be nice to know what fleets, weapons, armors, and specials we're going to be getting.
Yeah, start planning it now, right?
So you can plan ahead, yeah, what you want to build.
Well, what you won't get will be seawolves.
Instant repair.
I love my Seawolf.
Because you could conceivably build an instant repair fleet, so they won't be there.
Yeah.
Or
Well, just
Predator
remember,
subs.
halftime repair, 600 armor points is the target for instant repair. If you can go, if you have a crew, I'm sorry, an officer or for your dock for repairs that takes 10% away, then you can go up to 660 armor points. But 600 armor points is the target. So if that's what your goal is instant repair. So just remember that. You can put anything you want on there. Just got to keep the armor points in check for instant repair boats.
Knowing kicks, they'll put a limit on it that you've got to go up to.
They'll probably have every ship have like 12,000 base armor.
That or
be
repair
crazy.
modifiers to make it equivalent to 1,000 armor.
Yep.
Well, you know it'd be cool because I know they got that new carrier. What if they just made everybody use that new carrier?
That'd be nice.
Warbird or the Monarch?
I mean, that'd be kind of cool, right? If they put out the new carrier and you basically had to build a fleet and of the new carriers, and you play with your different designs, and that way, after the Forsaken Arena tournament's over, and if you want any, you can you already got what your build set up, you know.
Which new carrier, though?
The one in this
Yeah, it's
week's,
supposed to be the fat prize.
it looks like a Clinton bird of prey or a warbird, basically. Looking at the picture.
Anybody have a link to?
It's in the badges, if you look.
Yeah, if you look in your badges in the game, under legacy badges, there's a picture on there because the badge has already been added to the game, so you can see what it looks like there. But I think that the darkalliance.org is that's the data miner forums, and I think they might have a picture in there too. But I haven't actually gotten anything from Kixeye on it, so. All right. Well, again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a real simple fix to make everybody happy. All they got to do is put uranium pair back in, and all the bitching will probably stop. It's real easy.
Yeah, put the uranium damage protection. I mean, they did go from bad to worse, right? Because I didn't compete last month because you didn't get any uranium back, and so this month they didn't even give you the option to give them uranium.
No.
And it just seemed like they try to make it worse. I mean, they're like, oh, you think it's bad this month? Wait till you see next month. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're not playing our game. Well, how about this? Take this, you know, and just forcing this down our throat. But
Well, that's the terrible thing about them. They never, ever learn from their mistakes.
they always add to them.
Well, isn't that the way?
Some hacker will
Go ahead.
Go,
Todd.
Vlad.
Okay, isn't it been that way always? It seemed like for a while, we were trying to guess what they were doing in the raids and build fleets to anticipate it. And I remember thinking that not only did you have to guess what they were doing, but you had to guess what everybody else was going to do and try to do something out of the box different, because you knew that Kix was going to take, if everybody built a Crusader fleet, that they would defeat the Crusaders, and you had to have something else. Subs, whatever. And so, are we back to that? Are we back to they're just going to try to figure out what we're going to do, and then they're going to try to defeat us?
You think that's what it is to them? It's a war against the community?
Well, I think it's not so much a war against the community, but a way to get the community to spend coins twice. You spend coins to coin up the fleet to get to do what you want, and then you find out it's not going to do what you want, so you have to spend coins again. And even with the FAT, they've taken something and they've turned it into, well, it doesn't really matter what you do, we're going to ensure that you're going to spend coin on it.
Exactly, coin first again.
Yeah, and some hacker will eventually win the thing.
Then get banned.
He'll take all the prizes and badges and whatever else, get banned, and so no one got the first prize.
Exactly.
That's how.
That happened last month, didn't it, with the Aegis?
Yep.
That happens every month.
Well, I know last month there was a lot of people that had like 60+ kill streaks, man. I mean, come on, you really coined all those repairs? Because that's the only way we could get a kill streak was to coin your repair last month. And there were people that had just really huge kill streaks.
61 in mine.
Yeah, I mean that's insane. Of course, most of those guys are now banned, but I mean it's cool that I guess that they're gone. But odds of them actually being gone and not like either buying another base or starting a new one, I mean, they were hacking before. They probably still are.
Yeah.
So how many people do we see that allegedly got what's the new lottery hall? There's so many different there's so many different hell fleets. I can't remember which one. Whether Hellstar, that's it. How many people got Hellstars that 3 days later had band tags?
I know. I had a friend of mine who was one of those who got the Hellstar and then was turned around and banned. Probably not even a week after, but he's been reinstated. There was some kind of screw up with Kixeye's automatic ban tool that they have. They got like some script that runs, and there was like some kind of screw up, and it ended up banning a whole lot of people that were legit. And those guys have been reinstated, but of course, their ban base picture most likely got posted on the ban hammer, and all their haters came out, and you know how that works.
So what Kixeye should do in that case, they should in one of the forums or through game chat formally apologize to all these players and
yeah, they don't talk about bans so publicly. They will not do it.
Stake.
Yeah, they won't talk about bans publicly. They won't discuss their terms of service, which I don't understand. If their terms of service are public, I don't know why they won't discuss it publicly. But I don't know. I guess they're just saying it's not up for discussion. It is what it is. But they don't. I don't know that they really respect their own TOS 100% of the time. And
it's like they're hiding about it, if you know what I mean. And I don't know. Like I said, they're hiding about it, and if they don't talk about it or mention about it, then they think that the rest of the world thinks, oh, it's a good game and there's no hackers in it.
Is it like Seinfeld? If you really believe in your lie, it's not a lie.
It seems to be, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Well, and they act like if they don't talk about it, nobody else will. They have to know there's hundreds, if not thousands, of BP-related Facebook pages out there, and it's a big topic of conversation about what's going on with people, all banned, lose a couple boats, agree to the TOS again, and get your base back. I mean, they have to know, and yet they just don't want to talk about it.
Just living in their own little bubble, don't they?
I think I don't know about. I think there's more than just hundreds of Facebook pages for BP because I know like almost every single alliance has a Facebook page. I think every single sector has a Facebook page. So that's going to be like thousands of Facebook pages just for battle pirates.
Yeah, there's loads.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess now anybody else got any more topics? So I kind of feel like we're beating these things up, man. But we got some really quiet folks on here. I've not heard anything from Vengeance yet. Joel, you've been kind of quiet, and then Bucked Up, I haven't heard anything from you either. Are you guys just having a hard time getting words in, or what?
It's not that for me because, well, I just don't have anything to say about these topics. We beat them up already in past roundtables.
Yeah. Well, what would you like to talk about, Joel? Anything?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, no problem. Vengeance, did you have anything you wanted to talk about? Bucked Up?
Yeah. You guys have any new builds for the new ship? Like
Gorsaber?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Me and my wife is actually building one, so I kind of started helping her with the build, and I think ultimately, I mean, me speaking for myself, I can't speak for anybody else on here. There's probably some guys on here that actually have some built already. I don't know if they're comfortable sharing their builds or not, but I know there's 4 special slots. I think Speed System, like MC3 Alloy. There's the Siege Battery, I think is the one that gives you the turret defense.
Yeah.
And then probably either a High Explosive Shells 3, which is what I advised my wife to do. I know there's Combustion Systems, as a special that some people will use instead of High Explosive Shells 3. And because that gives you more projectile speed, but it also is like 50% more weight on your ship, and it's 15% less splash than High Explosive Shells 3. So, I don't know if the projectile speed's really worth it, and as far as the armor goes, I definitely recommend putting as much evade armor on there as you can, and putting at least maybe one, because you want to get your armor up to as close to 30,000 as possible, and so I would recommend at least one Reaver bulkhead, and then the rest evade armor. That's my personal recommendation.
Combustion system's only 21% weight.
It's only 21%. I thought yeah, 21. Yeah, but High Explosive Shells is 14.
Yes.
So that's what I said. It was 50% more weight than.
Okay, I heard that it was 50% weapon weight increase.
Oh no!
No.
Yeah, it's 21. Yeah, it's 50% more. My bad. It's 21 versus 14% weapon weight. So that's why I told my wife I recommended she went with High Explosive Shells 3. And that's what I recommend. And then you probably only be able to get like 10 of the Dragonfire rockets in your fleet that way. But I guess you can try to figure out what you want for the armor and all that to see if you want more weapons in there. But I think in the fleet that we designed for her, she was only going to have 10 Dragonfire rockets. I'm not sure if that's adequate. I hope it is. I suspect it is. I mean, I've seen that thing, and it is like ridiculously strong. So.
You could probably get away with using only 9 if you wanted to. I know most Hellstrike fleets used an average of 9 when it first came out. So.
Actually, I take that back. It was 8 because I was 3 per boat, but she actually could only do 2 on one boat. Is what we ended up doing to keep all of our armor and stuff consistent. We ended up just doing 3 boats, but. Three of the ships had 3 Dragonfires, and one of them had 2, so it was 8 Dragonfires total. But that's just me. But like I said, no practical experience. I'm not going to be building that fleet myself real soon. Right now, I'm armoring my Crusaders, and I'm going to get my Assault Torp B Nighthawk fleet done. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wonder whether a Frosty would do well with them.
Oh, she did put
as a lead ship.
We did put a Highlander in there with hers to get her radioactive defense up higher too. So your flagship, if you keep all your different flagships, with the magic, flagship specials that it does, flagship effects, you can always tweak your defenses with those as well. And Huggy's actually put a feature in there into his shipyard that will actually reflect the flagship effects now. So if you put the Highlander in there, you can actually see what it does to the rest of your boats.
Good.
I love that guy. I'd be lost without his shipyard.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. So I think that's probably the Huggins shipyard might be the biggest reason why he still plays Battle Pirates. I think he does spend more time in his shipyard than he does playing Battle Pirates.
I think
he's not the only one.
Yeah. Well, I guess, guys, if there's a guy in our chat. I'm a cutie pie. I'll take your word for it. But that's his name. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying. And but he says you only need 2 Dragonfires per ship, and you don't need a siege battery. He says use the Grim for a defense and an Aegis. I don't have an Aegis, but if you have that, it'd probably be a good idea. It sounds like good information, good advice to me. But
what about talking about this new update they're going to try and bring in about alliances stopping thrubbling and that sort of thing?
Well, they said I thought I heard that it was a dead topic.
Well, it's not. The dropping the bubble from the fleet versus fleet when you hit a fleet versus fleet, that's going to be dead. That's going to be dead, but they're still going to go through with the rest.
What is the rest? Maybe you can explain it to me, because I lost interest once somebody told me it was a dead topic.
I'll have to look for it now.
Okay. So is that like an alliance member hitting another alliance member? I guess, are they doing something there to keep them from being able to bubble each other?
Yeah,
that's what the idea was. Yeah, but the community kicked up a fuss when you got a 36-hour bubble. If you went out and it like a cargo, it would drop your bubble. So why don't Kicks implement it where if you hit a cargo, it doesn't drop your bubble, but if you went out sniping other fleets, it would. It'd stop that.
Well, why would you want to stop sniping other fleets? If your alliance is getting pummeled, once you've got a bubble, you can't help defend the rest of your alliance.
I personally think a good compromise with that would be every time you initiate a fleet versus fleet, your bubble time gets reduced by like 2 hours.
That'd be interesting.
It's actually not a bad idea.
Because then your defensiveness would actually become part of your strategy of how long do you want your bubble to last and what don't you want to go under.
I like that. Holy cow, man. Dude.
You should work at KXI.
Yeah, that was excellent. I'm writing that down and I'm passing that on, man, right now. I'm doing it right now.
Because when you're out and you have a bubble and you're sniping other fleets, that's part of the deterrent of giving somebody, just rolling somebody over if you know that they're the kind of guy who's going to just spend the next 36 hours sniping your fleets. It actually gives the smaller guys a chance to play with the big guys. Because if you just go base on base, the big guy rolls up the little guy comes out. The first time he tries to do something offensively, he pops his bubble and he gets rolled up again.
Man, I get little guys, man, will go out and just they'll snipe my fleets, and I've had no interaction with them whatsoever.
Well, that's because you're Price.
Well, that's because I'm Price, but I'm just saying that they'll come out. I can't go out and do dredges sometimes, man, because there's like some guy out there, and of course he's got a bubble, and he'll just start sinking my dredge fleets, the fleets that I'd be using for dredges. So, I mean, it's
there's two different sides to the argument, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not just as simple as you attack some other player's fleet, your bubble's gone. I'm convinced that'll kill the game, because then you're going to have people who will have 36 hours where they're going to have no player versus player interaction at all.
But the bubble should only be as long as your repairs last. So as soon as the last building finished repairing, that bubble should go. There's no need for the bubble to be there an extra 12 hours or whatnot.
But you're always thinking about, what about the fleets that you need to repair, like your guard fleet, or your fleet that you just use on a base?
Well, what about just stopping another Alliance member hitting a guarded fleet on a base? Just rule that out completely, and stopping another Alliance member going in a base to bubble them.
Well, the solution I would come up with for that is, if you get hit by an Alliance member, you don't get a bubble. Doesn't matter if they do 5% or 95%. If they're wearing the same flag you do, no bubble.
That would stop going for cargo if they're emptying the warehouses. That covers that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't just stop Alliance members from hitting other Alliance members, because sharing resources is a legitimate strategy.
Yeah.
Well, and there's an easy way around that. You have one Alliance member who's in your Alliance but just doesn't have the tag, and if you want to be a Frubble Alliance, he's the guy that goes around and Frubbles everybody. So there's already a workaround for that.
Yeah.
But don't you think that, someone will see this guy, see him go back to his base, and then smash his base so that he cannot do that anymore?
Well, odds are he's probably got somebody else already fubbling him. Let's be honest. Usually when you see somebody frubbling a base, there's probably somebody already frubbling his base while he's doing that. So,
I think even more annoying than frubbles is when you have one Alliance member will throw a guard up, and then another Alliance member will come in and attack the guard, and then they promptly go to neutral corners and tie up that base for 5 minutes, doing no damage to anything.
That's what I'm on about. That shouldn't be allowed. They should be sort of like do something about that. So you can't, an Alliance member can't attack another Alliance member that's guarding another person's base.
It'll be just the same thing, though. They'll have that untagged guy or somebody who's in a friendly alliance but not part of their alliance will just do it. There's always going to be workarounds for the people who really want to do it. That's the problem, that people want to do it.
They could implement something like, if the battle persists for like 45 seconds, then without any damage being dealt, the battle automatically ends.
Yeah, that could do that.
Well, some battles would probably never occur then.
Yeah, well, a lot of people that guard bases, you'd never get rid of a Phantom Nighthawk guard. If you had a sub guard, somebody guarding a base with subs, then basically all they'd have to do is turn around and run. That's what they do anyway already. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, if you're trying to go in there and chase them with V2Hs or whatever, if you can't catch them in 45 seconds, then you got to start all over again. So
you're just not using the right V2Hs.
Yeah, just coin everything. That's all you gotta do. Coin every single fleet out there.
Because if you build them right, you can get V2Hs with over 50% combat, not 50%, with 50 combat speed, and then you add like a gearheads or a fearless blitzers in there at like 100 combat speed.
Wow. Wow. I don't know. I know me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for myself. But I have a hard time building fleets right the first time, and going back in and refitting them correctly, and going through that trial and error and all that stuff. When you're supposed to be building the next fleet, it's really just hard to justify putting them back in there. Usually it's like, well, this fleet didn't work, so I guess it's gone, I got like a lot of fleets, man. I still haven't done my Harlock Atlas carriers with Locusts. They still got Hornets on them. And so I just see that I'm using them less. I would love to have them fixed and current, but I just can't.
I'm trying to say you wanted a tri-dock, Jeff, by any chance.
That would be awesome, man. I'd love to see a dry dock.
How about a pause feature?
Well, You know, I think actually I think a dry dock or just a second shipyard. I think this day in the game is probably would be one of the best things that they could do. I mean, if they're not going to reduce the build times, at least let us build 2 things at once. You know what I mean?
I could
If they're not going to reduce the build times.
I could never understand why there never was a dry dock. Because if you're re-sorting out your ships, fair enough, it might take a couple of days, but when it gets down to 4 or 5 hours, I'm sure people are going to coin it. So they're going to make money off it. So where is the problem?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me either, but somehow or other in their freaking infinite wisdom, they seem to feel like, me personally, I think people over there are too smart for their own freaking good, and I think it's going to kill them, but, you know, I think they're just too smart for their own good, and I think they just think they know what everybody else is thinking and doing and what is okay and what's not, but I don't know. It's like I had a conversation with somebody else the other day about gold. I mean, as players, we see that as real currency because it costs us real money. But to them, it's fictitious or whatever. It doesn't really exist. You know, that's how they see it. They can just a couple of keystrokes and make as much as they want. You know, and so we view gold and time. Gold equals time, but they view it completely differently than we do. They don't see it as dollars and cents or pounds and pences or whatever, you know, people use, but you get what I'm saying.
Well, if you build a ship, for example, if it takes, let's say, 10 days to build the hull, well, that's fair enough. Eh? You have your 10 days, but then you've got your weapons and your armor, and once you've researched your armor, which might take, you know, another 10 days to research it or whatnot, but when you actually add it to the boat, it should only be a fraction of that cost. So once you've researched it, the main time wasting is out of the way. And when you add it to the ship, it should only be a few hours at most. And when you want to change things, taking the weapon or the armor or the special away should not take any time at all. I mean, that's if they'd implement that, there would be the shipyard would be free. You could play your game. You know, and they would make money because people would coin. I would coin rather than I ain't coining now.
It was mentioned on BV show Thursday. What about having like a storage warehouse where you could actually take off your weapons, your armors, and place them in there? And if you wanted to use them on a different ship, put them on another ship.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah, it's not an original idea by me, by the way. I heard that from somebody else a long time ago, but it was good. It was a good idea.
Yeah. It is a good idea, and probably all of us have had that idea at one point.
I really like the idea of being able to pause your build too to do a refit real quick.
Yeah. You know, and if they don't want to do a dry dock to let us add stuff, maybe they can at least do a dry dock to let us remove things, because it's BS that it takes time to remove old components to add new ones. You know what I mean? So maybe if they would have something where at least we could strip. I mean, come on, anything. Throw us a bone, and I don't mean, you know, tokens. The tokens that they're giving us are just. They barely scratch the surface of what's needed.
I also think that they should give tokens for when people scrap ships, because people are scrapping ships every time they build a new ship now.
Yep, I am.
People. So if they were to give people a token worth 35, 45% of what the ship was originally, the time to build it, then they could use that towards new ships that are taking months to build. And that could help relieve some of the pressure on the shipyard.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
I mean, they'd still be making money because people would scrap some ships. They would use the tokens to help build their new ship, and then they would probably coin the rest because there would be the tokens would reduce the time a little bit, and then they'd be like, "Hey, now this takes only this long. I can go just get a few points, like a few more coins, and finish off the ship."
Well, several of the big coiners have said that they've got a certain budget that they spend every month, that may be $100 or $1,000 or whatever it is, and doesn't matter what, they would spend that money. So I don't think Kickstarter would lose any dollars over it if they implemented something like that.
They won't lose it. They're going to get it, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think Kickstarter understands that if they lower the price, they will actually make more money. And until we get them to understand that, I do not think that we will see anything that will reduce the cost of playing this game.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, I guess any more topics? I mean, we got like 4 or 5 minutes left in the show. If anybody had any like last words or anything that they wanted to say about any of the topics that we discussed tonight, or maybe it was just something we haven't discussed tonight. This is last call. Last call. Nope. Going once. All right.
Yeah, Price.
Yes.
Did everybody do their Drac attack?
Yeah, Drac attack. Oh well, sort of. that was the last weekend one, right?
Yeah, I know that was a little while ago, but.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally did the Drac attack.
Did you do like the 5-minute version, or did you do the Joel version?
I had the 5-minute version.
Lucky.
5 minutes. It took. I started like maybe an hour after it like actually got released to everybody. It took me maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah, wow. I did mine at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Because I would start the battle. The battle timer would count down from 5 seconds, and the battle would end. Yeah. And then I would start the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I had people tell me to go in there with Gunboat or whatever, but I went in there with my subs, and I didn't have to kill anything, or I didn't take any damage or anything, and it was just done and over with. But it was kind of nice, I guess, sort of. But I was glad that Joel. I mean, I know he's not glad that he didn't get that particular version, but I was definitely happy that he was on this show and showing us what it was supposed to look like, and so that was kind of cool.
You're actually admitting to cheating, Price.
Oh.
Well, I started a campaign and it ended. What can I say?
It's not his fault.
Yeah, I started a campaign and it ended.
I mean, I liked what happened, but I also wish it kind of didn't. I was going into the campaign hoping that I could get like a few hundred VXP for my Crusader fleet, and I didn't get any VXP, so I was kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
Aw, boo-hoo. Go hit some cargo.
With all the glitches that work against us, it was nice to finally see one in our favor.
It was nice to see one that it bites them in the butt, right? Not us.
Yeah. It took 14 hours to fix it, though.
It did, yeah, because I didn't touch it for like 12 hours. I'm like, surely it's fixed by now.
Oh,
nope.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys.
You have to say, well driven, Joel.
As they're saying in chat, the Drac attack worked as intended, just like all the rest of the stuff worked as intended.
All right. Well, all right. I guess we'll go ahead and end the show, and I guess for the folks that are with us for the first time, if you're interested in participating in like a panel like this, we usually do them every Saturday. This is the Facebook group page behind me. bp.battlevortex.tv is our Facebook group page. We have the events tab at the top of the page, and this is generally where these events, information about these events are located. We do try to pin things, old shows, that kind of thing, but It should be in the event. I actually didn't go around and creating this until earlier today, and I don't know. I guess I was a little slack, but I don't know, man.
You're bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I sometimes I wish I kind of got a little bit more support. You know what I'm saying? But so if there's slack, it's even if it's my slack, I got to pick it up. Nobody's going to pick up my slack. So anyway, so Saturdays at pretty much the same time, and Kickside time is 3 p.m. On Saturdays is when we do these roundtable shows. Except for the regular monthly events. We will have one during the Forsaken Arena tournament, though. I mean, I know that's technically another monthly event, but we will still have a roundtable on that Saturday. And then our regular Thursday night shows, that's really just Arbiters only, but those are at 4 p.m. Kickside time. So whatever time it is where you're at, it's 4 p.m. at Kickside time is when our show is. So
12 o'clock UK.
12 o'clock UK. There you go.
On Thursday, and Roundtable is 11 o'clock UK on Saturday.
So we try to get a little bit of everybody in here. For the Hangout link for the shows, for the roundtables, are generally published inside the event about 10 minutes prior, and then I'll even add it to the description about 10 minutes prior to the show. That way, to make sure that we try to get new faces on here. I know quite often we get the same folks on here, but quite honestly, if they know where to look and they're clicking, I can't help it. You know what I mean? If you want to be on here, you just got to make sure. I'm telling you right now where to look and what to click. You just got to do it, and then you can be on here. So anyway, y'all have a good evening, good weekend. Take care.
Yeah, it is.
Bye, everybody.
Later.